Hey guys, how are we doing today? Today we're going to get into the Mustang. We're going to get the old turbo gear off and get some fabrication work done on the new turbo gear so that we can get the turbo mounted to see where it's going to hang out the hood. So, as I just mentioned there, basically our plan of action today is we're going to get the manifolds off. We're going to flip the manifolds to the opposite side so they're facing downwards. We're going to get the downpipe off, all the old turbo gear out, and then we're going to get placement for the new S480. That's going to sit here somewhere. So I'm thinking it's going to end up hanging under the hood a little bit by the time that lower manifold comes over and we get our T6 flange in there, be able to leave enough room that we can get charge piping underneath. We're going to be out of the hood. So I'm okay with it. It's going to look neat. Kind of something different for a look. Seems to be what guys are going for these days. So I'm gonna go time lapse, start to disassemble all this stuff. We're gonna start off with charge piping, blow off valve, etc. And then we'll work on exhaust. So there was a couple pieces down here that gotta come down, and some of it is actually still in steel, just for mock-up pieces that never get changed over to aluminum. So let's get it disassembled, and then we will show you what our placement is and go from there. Okay guys, got the front crossover pipe out of the way. Turbo would connect here. I can't get the dam pipe out the way, boy. She keeps hitting everything, so I gotta get the manifold out of the way, I'll get the down pipe out of the way. And then basically we can just like flip-flop one for the other, right? So this one will now be down bottom. We are gonna have to move the alternator. I'm thinking an up-high alternator bracket will work good from like ICT billet this morning. Yeah, aside from that, this line's gonna have to change, obviously. We may just route it out and around. No big deal, but essentially I think all of this side of it for the coolant lines and stuff will be okay off of our remote water pump. So I'm going to keep going at it. I'm going to get the manifolds off, get the spark plug wires all off so they're all out of the way, just get the coil packs clean off the block, and then we can get downpipe out. I'm going to get throttle body off just so it's out of the way, or I might even just keep it there so I got a pretty good idea of where I got to go back into it, because I'm not really looking to change the throttle body. I'm going to try to make 1,000 horsepower on that old stock throttle body. So let's see what's capable with it. Either way, gotta get the turbo on before we can do that, so let's keep going. Alright, so got the manifolds off, got the one manifold flipped on just to kind of see what the placement was gonna be like on it. I do gotta move this ground cable because it's touching the manifold, and I think down there where the motor mount touches, I have small block manifolds put to ICT billet plates, and I think where the top of that flange plate comes out just touches, so I gotta either dent the manifold, which you know does no harm, or change the mounts. Probably going to be a dent. Essentially, otherwise, I think the plan is to lay the turbo about here, which means we're going to cut this manifold back here somewhere and turn the 90 this way so it transitions so the T6 flange sits about here. And then basically bring the other manifold, same deal, flip it, move the alternator, bring the other manifold over, and then just merge it into this one so it becomes like a three-way collector built in. So, gonna support the turbo with the engine stand so we can kind of get an idea of where we want it and make piping from there. Alright, so forgot to get time lapse of all this stuff, but basically got the other manifold flipped over onto the other side, got the turbo hanging off the engine stand to approximately where we want. So basically the charge pipe's gonna come out of the turbo here, going to the pipe, down the intercooler. Exit for the exhaust should work okay to shoot down in the front of the tire there, maybe either out the fender, or if we can make it work, we can maybe make some room here that we can get the downpipe down through. So see how it works out. Now we're going to get the bottom piece fabbed up from this side over, so we'll get this 90 put in, bring that pipe across the front, and then 45 it up to where it meets the T6 flange. And then once we have that piece in, I'll get the other manifold in. I got a mark on it where it needs to be cut. And then we can just basically get a bend in to shoot it up into the flange there as well. So we're gonna get, I need to get some cutting wheels and get that stuff set up. So in the meantime, that's it for right now. Okay guys, just a little update. Forgot to get the time lapse out again, but it's all good. So this is just basically doing some updates along the way, but got the piping in. As you can see, I got it coming into the turbo. The other side of the T6 flange isn't quite fully covered yet, but once I bring this merge out, what I'm thinking is I'll be able to basically curl this sucker right up in and then trim this pipe back so that it has a nice merge to where this piece will come in. So should work out good. So I got a couple welds in there already just to hold it in place. I absolutely love TIG welding. Fuck TIG welding, so nice. Sorry for the language. Otherwise though, main pipe's coming in good. That's gonna set the turbo up there just right. So let's keep going. Okay guys, so got a little ahead of myself. Again, this whole time-lapse thing, sometimes I just get going in like that straight and narrow, trying to get things done, get big videos of it, but I got the tubing all done. You can see it runs over. I got the merge collector running with our other manifold V-band clamps. I did have to chunk a lot off. You can see I'm back to like where the 4 pipes merge together. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I smoothed it out in there pretty good. And when I'm all said and done and pull the manifold back off, I'm going to go in there with a die grinder and basically clean up all of the V-band flange that isn't really smoothly tapered. So hopefully we can get good flow out of it. I am putting back pressure sensors here and here on both sides. I'll have them little bungs with lines that come off into a sensor on each one so I can see what our back pressure on both sides is. Wastegate placement, I was just actually looking at that, trying to find an idea of where I'd like to set it. I do need to get a new flange because when I used the flange on the old one, the firing ring's not in there, but when I used the flange on the old one, I've rendered it useless. So I think it's something like yo maybe. I don't know. I might follow it to the rail there, just so it kind of got like a neat little follow, and then just basically bring the dump of it kind of up and follow the same areas where the dump for the turbo is going to be. So not really sure where the placement that's going to be yet. The hood does close though, because there's a hole up there, and it pokes the turbo out pretty good. So it looks pretty sweet. I'm happy with it. Oh look, I see why I didn't go all the way down, because it's hitting the little gasket there and needs a little trim, but looks good otherwise. Since that now is done, the other issue that I was going to do on this video was get the cross member done. So there's the old cross member there. The plan is I'm going to chunk like the 2 ends off, about 3 inches on the driver's side and about 1 inch on the passenger side, and then 90 them up or 45 them up into the floor of the car, so that the bar is actually closer to the bottom of the transmission. That should make the difference for us, so that our mount is going to be extended out a little bit. We can get easier access to the 2 bolts that hold it in place. So that's going to be our next job. So got the chops out, going to give it a chunk right quick and get it set up. Okay guys, so I got the cross member out and some pieces fabbed up, or started here. Basically TIG welding together, DON tubing. I really wish I would have TIG'd the cage. Fuck, it's a nice weld. Sorry for the language. Beep. Anyway, got the section set up. So basically this is going to be the center section of where the mount is going to sit. Obviously this is facing down the ground. So I've just underneath there made a couple marks. I'm just going to get this portion tigged up, then we'll get back underneath, get this side in, get the mount off the car, get it tigged in place, and then we're going to finish this side. As you can see, that one's got a steep angle on it because I want to get it up out of the way and then come back down to this mount so that I can hopefully get a 4-inch piece of piping underneath there if I have to make the exhaust go to the back of the car. So let's keep going at her. Alright guys, got the cross member in. I don't have the bolts tight, but everything lines up perfect to where it should be. Cross member gives room here for the exhaust to come through if need be. Supported off the subframe connectors. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that pulled down one last time, get a coat of paint on it so that it's all good to go. We did do all TIG welds on it, so it's nice and fresh. Just needs an easy little cleanup, and then we'll get some paint and get her back installed for the final time. Alright guys, that's it for today on this episode. So you got the turbo mounted, got the hood cut, got the transmission crossmember put in place, kind of what we were aiming for to do. I appreciate you guys following the channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, and also check out Instagram and Facebook for updates along with what we're doing with the car, along with other projects that we can finish up as well. So again, thank you, chat safe, drive safe.